Welcome, everyone, and happy holidays. This is Ronnie Rance alongside Joel Davis here in the LeBaire Studios in Baton Rouge. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Feliz Navidad. We've got Happy Kwanzaa coming up. Anything else I'll leave out?
I really don't follow that stuff.
And whatever other holiday celebrations out there not known to North America, we wish you all the best. Yeah. Joel Davis here with you. Joel, the New Orleans Saints, double-digit wins for the first time since 2013 after they beat the Jets. It was an ugly win, but it was a win. They go to 10-4. If you look at the Saints' upcoming schedule, they've got Atlanta at home this coming week, a tremendously big game. And then, of course, on the road against a Tampa team that looks like they're playing for next year. So, at worst, they look like they're headed to 11-5. Before we start talking playoffs and all that kind of stuff, this team's going to win 11, possibly 12 games. Best coaching job of Sean Payton's career?
I wouldn't say that. I would say it's the draft. I mean, let's give Ireland the credit. Because without those players,
we didn't
without
say anything
Kamara,
we didn't say anything about
Sean
not
Payton's
giving.
not.
We didn't say anything about not giving anybody else credit.
No,
I'm talking about from Sean Payton's standpoint. No. He's been the head coach since 2006.
Okay, the last 3 years was 7-9.
When was his best coaching job better than this one?
I would say 2006 was amazing.
Okay. Came back from Katrina, went to the NFC Championship game.
Went 10-6 and won a playoff game. Had an opportunity, went to the NFC Championship. Do you realize they've only been to 2 NFC Championship games under Sean Payton?
They're
2006 and 2009.
Yeah.
They're 1-1.
So 2000, and I'll give you that one.
This year is not even close to that.
So 2006, well, not true. And think back to 2006. The expectations of the New Orleans Saints that year, going into that season. Were you a season ticket holder?
Yes, I was. That was my first year.
Okay. You were paying a really cheap rate back then.
Pick your seat.
But I mean, think about it.
Because I got the tickets before Drew Brees and Reggie Bush.
Yeah. You were good. You were good.
That's when you could go in the dome and pick your seat.
Literally.
I mean, if you wanted to.
All right. So 2006, they're coming off of the 15 year where they're playing in Tiger Stadium. Jim Haslett's it was a disaster. Aaron Brooks is your quarterback. It was a disaster.
Aaron Brooks was not terrible. Jim Haslett was the problem. Jim Haslett was chasing chicks rather than coaching the football
team. You liked
team.
it. Well, I mean, and Aaron Brooks was smoking blazing.
Well, they're all doing it. Most of them are doing
U11 with some Aaron Brooks. They throw the interception and laugh about it on the sidelines. You love that.
I loved Aaron Brooks. The only thing look, he wasn't great, but if you look at Aaron Brooks' stats, his years in New Orleans were pretty good.
No. He was a middle-of-the-pack quarterback. He was about the 15th best quarterback probably in the league back then.
And he made plays with his legs. Aaron Brooks got game.
He's better than the Tollivers. I mean, I get it. He wasn't the worst quarterback in the history of the Saints.
The thing is Jeff Blake wasn't playing terrible at the time. Jeff Blake was actually playing pretty well in 2000 when he got hurt, and Aaron Brooks came in and took his job. And then Blake never got the job back.
From again.
No.
All right, so let me go back to the expectation in 2006. But at that time, you were thinking 6-10, probably under first-year coach Sean Payton.
Yes.
Okay. What was the expectation this year?
7-9.
6-10, 7-9.
No, 7-9.
We talked about it on this show.
Yeah, and you have
the
Drew
tape
Brees
in our vault, which we don't have. You would see that you clearly said 6 or 7 wins.
Okay, I just said 7-9.
Okay, but my point
you said 6 or 7.
Okay.
7 is 7. So 7-9. I figured they would do the same thing.
I'll give you 2006 over this year by a smidge. Okay, a smidge.
They came off a 3-13 season.
It was amazing. But we had Reggie.
A coach.
We had Reggie.
Pardon me. I gotta.
Could you not? So 2006, I'll give it to you. Okay, of the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Of the 12 years that Sean Payton's been the head coach.
He didn't coach one of those. Remember,
of the 11 years head coaches, I'll give you one. Give me another that's better than this year, where he did a better job with the expectation and everything.
I would think 2011 was pretty damn good. 2011, they were coming off the sorry season after the Super Bowl, the hangover when they went, I think it was 10-6 again that year. Got into the playoffs and got bounced by the Seattle Seahawks. That's when beast mode went beast mode. And then the next year, they were beating people by 20 points a game. In 2000, that was the best football team the New Orleans Saints have ever had. Was 2011, but they didn't have anybody that could cover a linebacker.
Backs.
They didn't have. No, they had defensive backs, but they didn't have They didn't have a safety that could cover Vernon Davis
Right.
in San Francisco because that year they probably would have gone on to the Super Bowl. They would have had the New York
They were
Giants.
trying to get the big hit because of Bounty Gate.
Well, see, back then in 2011, Pierre Thomas went out in the first drive
Right.
with a head-to-head.
And then had 5 turnovers in that game.
It was and they still almost won the game.
All right.
So that was an unbelievable season.
But I'm going to disagree with you on that simply because at that point you just won a Super Bowl, you double-digit wins, you go into the playoffs. I mean, the expectation of the Saints was to compete for a Super Bowl in 2011. The expectation for 2017 was just to not be horrific, to not be terrible, to not be the
7-9.
worst team in the NFC South.
7-9
And
is
instead they're
not
going to win the division. So
what?
we'll get to that.
You're gonna okay.
But
All right.
I'll agree with you on 06 by a smidge.
Why don't we have like a chart of like? Why don't we should
You
have
make that.
We
We'll
should
have
a,
it.
No, we
You
need
make
a,
it.
we
We'll
need
have
a,
it.
Marty, can we get like a grease
no,
board with
you
our
can't.
running bets?
Okay.
We should have something we could like turn
What did we
to.
bet on last week?
I know that's
We
what I
had-
was thinking. I know we have a bet,
had
and I
a
was thinking
thing
we need to make
last
another
week.
bet, but we don't. That's the problem. We need the grease board.
All right, but
We
here's
need
the,
the grease.
but here's the thing.
Why can't we have like a chalkboard?
Of the 11 years, this is Sean Payton's second best year.
That's what this should be instead of the
The
stupid
second,
logo.
yeah, but I mean, we're lucky to have that. But 06, I'll give that. That was an amazing year. It brought back
You said
Katrina.
you finally give me
But
credit for
11, but 11, no. 17's better. This is the second best coaching job in Sean Payton's career. They're headed to win a division because at the end of the day, do you really think the New Orleans Saints in the Dome are going to lose that must-win game against the Falcons, who, by the way, they outplayed with a decimated team a couple weeks ago in Atlanta? They're going to split with the Falcons.
The only thing that the Saints have going for them is they played like crap yesterday. They played like
the law
crap.
of averages say.
They played like crap because I would have hated to have seen them win like the Jacksonville Jaguars won yesterday, 45-7.
You would have hated
Yes,
to see them
knowing
win
what-
that way.
yes.
I love the way you think. This is incredible.
Well, I'm going to tell you why.
we
Because
don't want the Saints to look
no.
dominant.
I want that to happen this week.
Oh, because you figure they can't do it 2 weeks in a row.
Look, should they have, let me ask you something. Should they have played that poorly against the Jets? Why did they play that poorly, Ron?
Because of a guy that they need to cut
not
today by the name of Coleman.
No, they're not
because he
gonna cut-
fumbled twice in the
Dude,
red
he's
zone.
actually-
He is so over. We've had 5 years of this experiment. Get rid of him.
He's made some good plays. Right? Who are you going to put in there right now?
Well, I mean,
Austin
anybody,
Carr off the
anybody,
waiver
anybody
wire?
that can catch the ball and
Let me
hold on
just
to it, because
explain
Drew's
to
going to get
You know
it to
how
you.
sports are. You know how professional football is. Watch what happens to the Jacksonville Jaguars next week after that 45-7 win at home. Just watch. Guaranteed they're going to lay an egg next week.
Okay, you say that, and
We
the
need the
old,
board.
the old,
We need the grease board.
the old Jaguars, I'd agree with you. But Blake Bortles has been the best quarterback in the NFL over the last 3 weeks. He's got
I
a
agree with
completion
that. He's
percentage
phenomenal.
about 73%
He's
over the
balling.
last 3 weeks. And most of the time, and we said it on this show, and most people did, Blake Bortles is going to have one good game, one bad game, one good game, one bad, and usually one good game, 2 bad games, then a good game. But this is a different Blake Bortles for whatever reason, whether it's the defense giving him the confidence, the running
Yeah.
game finally. Bottom line is, by the way, Leonard Fournette didn't even play yesterday,
Right.
and they still put up over 40. This isn't about Leonard Fournette over there. This is about that defense.
Defense is phenomenal.
And, oh, by the way, the offense is coming to its own, and Blake Bortles is coming into its own. So, that said, I disagree, because if Blake Bortles can play fantastic over 3 weeks in a row, the New Orleans Saints,
My
led by
point
Sean
is,
Payton, can do that.
Typically, when teams dominate, I mean, just absolutely crush a team. At least I know this with the New Orleans Saints. Under Sean Payton, when the New Orleans Saints come out and they absolutely decimate a team, right? Usually the next week, they're flying high and they don't play as well the next week. Another thing under Sean Payton is we've seen the New Orleans Saints play down to their competition a lot of the time. The New York Jets started Bryce Petty at quarterback, dude. Bryce Petty,
19 for 39 throwing the football.
who was terrible.
Couple interceptions.
He's awful.
By the way, he had some hell of a throw. He had some great throws.
But he's in the NFL for a reason.
I
He's
know.
capable of making a throw or two.
He had a few
and
throws that were
the
pretty
one with
incredible.
Manti Te'o in coverage was a phenomenal throw.
Or the one with Lattimore down the left sideline when he threw a bullet about 40
There
yards
was
down, right on the
two
money.
throws out of all his throws, and then, of course, the 2 pass interference penalties that kept them in the game.
Right.
That shouldn't happen. The New Orleans Saints are going to be a championship caliber team. Hold on, let me finish. I know you want to say something.
The fumbles.
The fumbles, the pass interference, and playing down to their competition. Now, if the New Orleans Saints, you remember when they beat the Indianapolis Colts like 60 to something? And that was in 2009. They beat the crap out of the Colts 60 to something. So you're thinking the next week we could put up 60 against the Colts. The Colts were not terrible. They weren't great, but they weren't terrible. I mean,
That
they
was
were.
in 2009.
That was in 2009.
Saints went to the Super Bowl in 2009 to play the Colts, so they didn't beat the Colts.
That was in 11. That was in 11. That was their year where they. Okay, that was in 11. It was 60. Just do Saints versus Colts, 63 points. Look what they did the next week after that. They laid an egg. And I'm glad that they're not going to lay an egg this week because they got Atlanta coming in off a short week. We've been talking about the New Orleans Saints having to play on short weeks in bad situations. Well, Atlanta's in that situation this week. Atlanta's going on the road to Tampa on Monday night, and they got to come back and play in the Dome at noon on Sunday. That plays right into the hands of the. If this was reversed and the Saints were in this situation, we'd be screaming bloody murder. And they have been in this situation. They were in this situation in the beginning of the year.
2011.
2011.
62-7.
Now, what did they do the next week?
I mean, I got to look that up.
Do 2011 schedule. Watch the egg that they laid the next week. They were killing people, and then they just destroyed the Colts. And then
62-7.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. But look at next week. I'm telling you, this has been a theme under Sean Payton. Well, they won't have to worry about that this week because they laid an egg versus the Jets, but they got the win. That's the most important thing. If they hadn't have gotten that win, Ronnie.
They lost at the Rams.
Yes.
31-21.
But look at the Rams' record.
Yeah, the Rams weren't good.
The Rams were like 5 and something. They laid the egg. After the 62 to something win, they poo-pooed on themselves the next week.
The Rams that year, when they beat the Saints, only won two games. They went 2-14.
But they beat the Colts 62 under Sean. This is not one time.
This might be the best point you've ever made in the history of this show, by the way. I'm thinking about it. Like everything jived up correctly, other than the initial 09 season, which made no sense because Peyton Manning went to the Super Bowl.
It was in 11.
But other than the snafu at the beginning, you made a great point that the Saints won 6. They put 60-something up. I thought that's crazy, but it wasn't. 62
How do you not
to
remember
7.
that?
I remember a big blowout, but I mean.
But you don't remember the poo-poo that they laid the next week?
Yeah, but I remember that now. But the fact that you tied it all together and it jived up with this.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I mean, that's pretty good.
Well, now
if you've been watching this show, you know that's the first time in 4 or 5 years.
That's what I was worried about. I was worried about them laying that egg. I knew they had some extra rest because of the Atlanta game being on that Thursday night. After that short week, they had a lot of injuries. Kamara played. Kamara had more touches than Ingram had yesterday. I was surprised by that. Wasn't as effective in the running game as I'd like to have seen him. But here's where the Saints have a big problem. Their defense saved them yesterday. Saved them. But thank God it was Bryce Petty they had to save them from. Right? So that's not really putting the fear of God in anybody.
Doing anything.
Right. It wasn't like Ben Roethlisberger or Tom Brady back there.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that, Graham. It was unbelievable. But the New Orleans Saints, they have a big problem moving forward. And it's going to be exposed when...
And which is what? What's the problem?
The middle of the field. They can't attack the middle of the field because they don't have a situational tight end that can stretch the middle of the field. Ted Ginn was out yesterday, so they couldn't stretch the middle with him or the outside.
They didn't throw the ball more than 10 yards the whole game. It was unbelievable.
They couldn't. And that definitely, not having Ted in that game hurt them. They couldn't stretch it, couldn't get the underneath routes to Kamara. They were just bottling all that up. That will open back up with Ted Ginn being back in the game next week. But I'm going to tell you right now, in the offseason,
got to go get a tight end.
Your boy's gone. Hippie boy's
Fleener.
gone. He's gone. He'll never take another snap. And I said this before Mike Detillier did. Mike, I appreciate you. But I said this, as soon as he was put on IR, that was the telling say. You knew right then, the second they put him on IR, and they're going to let this dude come back, you got the playoffs coming. I mean, was his brain destroyed? Could he not come back as his brain like mush? Was he bleeding in the brain? No. They got ready because he's done. They don't need this guy anymore. You knew he was done. They have to get a tight end. Or they have to get another big present receiver. They got to replace Coleman to be able to go over the middle.
Would you bring Jimmy Graham back if there's a deal to be made there?
I would love to have Jimmy, but they're not going to pay Jimmy. They're not going to pay Jimmy that money. I just don't see it happening. And plus, I think he would be perfect in our offense right now.
Well, he was perfect.
And he'd be perfect still. But boy, have the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
Boy, they need Max Unger more than we need Jimmy Graham. Let me just tell you that.
He's Joel Davis. He made the first excellent point in 5 years here on the show. Appreciate that. We'll take a break. We come back on the other side. A lot to talk to. How about ESPN's got a new president? He steps down due to substance abuse earlier today. We've got the NFL game, the finish between the Steelers and the Patriots, has everybody talking about it. The fact that the quote from Jerry Jones is one of the best ones you'll ever hear. We'll tell you about that when we return. Don't go anywhere. Sports Rich will continue right after this.
When my wife and I started Relief Windows, what we were trying to do, what our goal was to give a quality job to a homeowner. Everybody's scared of contractors. We wanted to change the mold of what that is. Not showing up on time, not answering the phone, somebody running with your money. The reason why you should pick Relief Windows to do your renovation of your home, windows, doors, Hardy Plank siding, is because of the experience, quality service of our company. Service is everything we have. It's the foundation of our company. We're going to show up on time. We're going to do the job right. Over 60% of our customers is customer referral. We're a local company here in Baton Rouge, built in Baton Rouge, staying in Baton Rouge. Okay. The job's not done until you're happy and we're happy. It's built the old-fashioned way, with a handshake. Here at Relief Windows, it's an honor to be official window, door, and siding company of LSU Athletics, from one winning team to another.
Appliance Distributors of Louisiana are appliance experts who have been in business for over 35 years. ADL provides worry-free, full-service solutions for the whole home. ADL works with designers, builders, or individual homeowners like me when I was remodeling my home after the Great Flood in August 2016. ADL offers special homeowner discounts, just like the ones the builders get. Go to ADLappliances.com and see all the major name brands, or stop by their store on Nicholson Drive in Baton Rouge. ADL services the entire state of Louisiana, so call, log on, or stop by today. Appliance Distributors of Louisiana. If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau St. Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase.
Welcome back, everybody. Ronnie Rance alongside Joel Davis here in LeBaire Studios in Baton Rouge. Happy holidays to everyone out there. Most people would hear the news that happened. And this show will air a couple times, obviously, due to the holidays and with Christmas falling on a Monday. Most people will hear the name that John Skipper, the head of ESPN, the president, also the co-chair of the Disney Corporation, he resigned due to substance abuse and that he's going to get treatment. And think, well, how does that affect me? Not a big deal. Well, it does. When you think about it, how big ESPN is and all the entities that it touches and controls, and every decision from programming to expansion to what
kind of explains it, doesn't
it? And what's interesting, just to give you an idea, Dan Le Batard, who of course on TV and radio with ESPN, when he heard the news, started crying on air, got choked up, got
Jimmy
emotional.
Kimmel?
He pulled the Bill Franquez 96 homer, Warren Morris. He pulled the Jimmy Kimmel. He started crying on air because that's the guy who hired him. That's the guy that brought him to ESPN. And as far as put his show, took him to the next level.
He's grateful.
And he's like, I don't know what this means for my future and our show and everything else. So pay attention to that. It's interesting goings on.
ESPN hasn't been doing that well lately.
Well, cable.
I mean, there's been some issues.
Yeah, I mean, cable television in general is a little bit down with, with all the choices of channel, with all the apps and all that sort of thing.
Well, my kids, I can tell you right now, if you're under 15, if you're maybe 16, 17 and under, they don't watch TV anymore.
Yeah, your viewing is different than our growing up.
Right. I mean, So if you're not prepared for that, like I'm literally
everything's on the device.
Everything.
Now.
I mean, my kids do not watch TV. Ever. And I mean, I remember growing up, that's all we did.
Yeah, sat around and watched
TV, woke up on Saturday morning, watch cartoons, whatever it was. I mean, I can't remember the last time my daughter could sit in her room with the TV on, and she's not even, she's watching or whatever, slime videos, whatever. YouTube is a big deal. Netflix is a big deal.
Let me ask you this. They always talked about, television is rotting your brain. You need to get away from the TV. Whatever. Your grandma that smoked. Back then used to smoke in the house.
So different
with the windows closed.
Yeah. Everything's yellow.
I mean, I remember as a kid, my grandparents on my dad's side smoked, and you go to their house.
Clouds.
Literally yellow. The sofa was yellow. But we didn't think anything of it.
Yeah,
we were like, it's just a little dingy.
You couldn't breathe, but.
But then the minute that they, excuse me, stop smoking.
A little flashback there.
Then they second hand, it'll kill you.
Dude, I'm surprised I don't have lung cancer.
But I mean, think of all the times as a kid you were riding down the road in a car.
Yeah.
Nobody cracked the windows.
No.
I mean,
they blow it in your face. Look, but I used to smoke. I was a smoker from 18 to 30, right? Those 12 years, I was a pack a day, pack and a half a day. When I turned 30, I said, I'm going to quit. I haven't had a cigarette since. So looking back from the ages of 18.
And as tight as you are, think of all the money.
All the money.
You
If I had all that money,
right.
I bummed a lot of cigarettes too. Bummed a lot of cigarettes.
Did.
But between 18 and 30, pack and a half, sometimes 2 packs a day. And then I started thinking about my grandfather and my grandmother. They both smoked in the house like yours. And I remember being at their house all the time, dude. And we'd be in my granddad's room, and I mean, it would be a cloud. Like, it would sit about halfway.
Right.
Halfway, you have to be under the cloud. So it was like from here to the ceiling. And we breathed that all day. So I literally
smoked all your life.
From my entire life until I was 30 years old. So from the ages of 4
right.
to 30,
right.
I was a chain smoker.
Probably stunted your growth. You'd be bigger. You'd be taller.
It's quite possible. Quite possible.
In a lot of ways. So, I would say that anyway, going back to the old days. What were we talking about?
We
had a great point. I was trying to be like you.
Yeah.
Good job. Nothing. Disney. Oh, TV. Thank you.
TV.
There. We're talking about the demise of television. Let me ask you this: what do you think, as a parent who's got many kids, which is worse? They're sitting in the living room with mom and dad and the lazy boys, who are reading newspapers, watching TV with them, and they're watching TV together for a couple hours at night as a family, or everybody's in their own room, everybody's on their own device, and instead of your daughter watching American Idol with the family, or Survivor, or a comedy show, she's watching slime videos and videos of people showing their butt crack or something.
No, very, very monitored. I agree. It's better to have it the other way around, and those are part of the issues that we have. But I make it a point as a parent to take time to say, hey, look, we find a show that we both like. She doesn't like watching football. I love watching football. I'm always watching football. So what I do is I like funny. Right? Well, there's a show called Impractical Jokers.
Yeah, Matt Madison, my 18-year-old daughter, loves that show.
Love that show. Mm-hmm. Well, that's the one thing, and it always comes on back to back. Usually on Tuesday nights. So I make a point to have, anytime it's on, to stop what I'm doing.
So you like the Mormons, you have family night.
Just with my daughter. I don't want to be around anybody else. I don't like anybody else.
Oh, it's daddy-daughter.
It's daddy-daughter.
Okay,
so what I'll do is I'll text her and say, guess what's on? And within 30 seconds, my door's open, and we're in the bed together watching Impractical Jokers. So that's important. Yes, you got to have that time in the same room together. with your family members.
Well-
But TV is changing, and this guy stepping down at ESPN, is substance abuse. But if he was doing a better job, he wouldn't be stepping down from his job. He'd just get some help and come right back.
Well, you know what's interesting is that what the future of television, sports, and everything is all about is really going to be interesting. And I'm not Nostradamus; I can't look into the future and make a prediction. But it's changing. And think about it from this standpoint. You know, the LSU Tigers. So we talk a lot about how the attendance is taking a dip. There's articles in the paper about it. LSU's concerned about it. You know, they sell the tickets, but as far as the actual attendance at games, people don't come to everyone. People leave early.
That's because they're getting older. People get older, and they don't want to go sit out there.
But I think it's not so much that. There's always turnover with when it comes to that. I think
Yeah,
it's
but the
just
young people would rather- they don't wanna watch
It's the
it.
television. Nobody
Right.
wants to leave their house.
Right.
It's so easy, right? You sit there, 60-inch television, HD. You know, you got
You're in
everything
the
at your
game.
disposal. You got great commentary, a million different cameras. You know, you go to the LSU game, and if you turn it, what happened? You know, and then thank goodness we've got the big screens, but you get one replay. You know, if you like, you know. So the point is that the experience is different. It's not just at LSU; it's all across the country. There's a hashtag, you know, empty seats or whatever in the NFL. You know, all the different empty seats in the NFL. Even with the New Orleans Saints with a fantastic year, it's not hard to get tickets to the New Orleans
Pretty
Saints
easy.
game. And oh, by the way, not only get tickets, but not have to pay $1 gazillion to get those tickets. When the Saints rather play these teams, you know, well, obviously the Jets were a different example because they're so horrific this year, and everybody knew they were going to be bad in New York. But most teams, if they're decent, travel well to New Orleans,
Yeah.
and when they score, you can hear the visiting team very well in the dome. Because the point is that people hold on to tickets because they want to be relevant when the time comes. They want to be at a playoff game. They want to be at a big game. They want to say they have tickets because who knows? But they're selling them off. They're giving them away. It's a
not a good
different experience.
investment.
And the point is that those billion-dollar, trillion-dollar contracts with television, the bubble's going to burst or it's going to change, right?
It's getting really close.
The dollar is going to change. There's going to be some, I think, retraction in the market when it comes to the TV contracts, which then affects college budgets, coaches' pay, building new things. Who knows what's going on with the new tax plan where the donation thing is affected. That's going to affect, buildings being, money being donated to colleges and nonprofits around the country. So times are changing. Not going to change overnight, but it's going to be changing. It's going to be interesting to see what the landscape of television, apps, sports in general is in the future. You were watching the two teams that, one of them is going to be representing the AFC in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, you thought the Chargers, but your Chargers laid an egg. You thought they were going to be maybe a dark horse.
I can't believe that they did that.
And I'm still not sold. It's fantastic of a year the Jacksonville Jaguars have had. No question about it.
Their defense is legit,
Their
bro.
defense is legit, but honestly, as good as Blake Bortles has been the last few weeks, we're not buying Jacksonville beating Pittsburgh or New England.
I think that they
in the
can
playoffs.
they can definitely win a playoff game and give somebody some hell in a division round. As long as if Blake Bortles plays the way he has the last 3 weeks, 7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, over 900 yards passing, 130 plus quarterback rating. And for Davian Clowney to call him trash yesterday was amazing. I mean, this guy's going home. He's not in the playoffs, and this guy's going to be in the playoffs. But if he can play like that, if he can throw for 250 and a touchdown or 2 touchdowns in the playoffs, with that defense, Ronnie, and with Leonard Fournette running the football, dude, yes, they can beat Pittsburgh. Yes, they can beat New England. But he has to play well. It really comes down to Blake Bortles. Will he turn the football over? Will he play the way he has the last 3 weeks, or will he play the way he did last year? That's the key for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm a big believer in them. But the Pittsburgh Steelers are the best football team in football. They didn't beat the New England Patriots. They lost in a huge game. But he got robbed because the NFL doesn't know what a catch is. They've watered down what a catch is, and it's the first time I saw it tweeted out last night. You know that there's a problem when Jesse James gets robbed.
Okay. I mean, yeah.
You know there's a problem When Jesse James gets robbed.
Is that the TV star on your app?
Jesse James?
Yeah.
You know who Jesse James is?
Yeah, the old right. Shoot 'em up from back.
So
in
the
the
tight
day.
end for the Pittsburgh Steelers was the guy that caught the ball and put it in the end zone. And
yeah. I
it's
thought
Jesse
I
James.
thought it was
So you know there's a problem
not Jenna James.
when Jesse.
Okay,
no,
gotcha.
Who's that?
Well played. Go ahead. Continue with your point because I'm
My
hoping
point
you
is
make another one
the
as good as you
Pittsburgh
did
Steelers.
earlier.
That's just the problem with this show. As I'm making my point, you're thinking
Well,
about.
no, I'm looking
rather
at
than
I'm
listening
trying to look
my
up the
point,
quote from
yeah,
Jerry
right,
Jones.
exactly. Rather than listening to my point, analyzing my point, and then debating my point, you are on to the next point in your brain.
Make
And
your point.
My point is, the Pittsburgh Steelers are for real, bro. They're for real. They should have been.
That's your point. I mean,
They are
all
the most
that to get to
dangerous.
Of course,
team
they're for real.
in the-
Yes, of
no,
course.
No. I mean, like, they're gonna beat New England. In New
I
England.
think so too.
New England's good, but Pittsburgh has. Antonio Brown went in that game. They had calls going against them left and right. By the way, the NFL loves them some Patriots, right? Even though they fined them and stolen a bunch of their draft picks, they love them. They give them all the calls. They got a ton of calls last night. Ben Roethlisberger, for a guy that didn't even want to play this year, is playing lights out, and he's got so many weapons offensively. It's unbelievable. They have so many weapons on offense. I don't think they care about their defense. Their defense is good, but it's nowhere what it used to be. Their offense is that good. They're going to beat New England. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be in the Super Bowl this year.
It's not a crazy thought. I mean, one of those two teams obviously are. It's
I'm
not a
going
crazy
Pittsburgh.
thought. I mean, I think that the rule was, as much as it sucks for a Pittsburgh fan that their tight end caught the
Jesse
ball
James.
and as he was trying to reach across the goal, drop. You know, he didn't cut.
Did
That's
he
the
drop
rule.
it?
That's
It
the
is.
rule.
It happened to Des Bryant
The ball
in
moved when he hit the
2014.
ground.
What's funny? You know what's really funny?
It's been that rule for a long time, and you know it is what it is.
Guess who was on the call last night watching that play? Tony Romo. Do you remember when that happened to Tony Romo and Des Bryant? Cost him a playoff game.
Oh, yeah.
That was a
Because when he
playoff
tripped,
game.
he tripped and kind of fell into the end zone.
And
and then he hit
it was
the ground.
clearly a catch.
Yeah.
But he didn't control it all the way to the ground once
Right.
you passed.
The question on that one was whether
So
he had
stupid.
taken like a couple steps or not.
It was so ridiculous. That's a catch, man. I mean, come on. Let's just stupid. This was being stupid.
Shouldn't the knee,
catch.
if the knee hits,
catch.
the play's over, right?
catch,
I mean, an
dude.
elbow hits. I don't know.
I mean, do you really? I mean, the ground is hard.
that rule's not going to change that.
No, but it's stupid.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that it gets you every once in a while.
But I mean, if the ball is like in a dude's hands for more than like a second, and it ain't going, and it's there. I mean, how? I mean, what? Why?
But he
Why
was
can you keep-
he was going to the ground as he caught the ball. He caught the ball, knee,
my
fall,
God.
ball hits the
I
ground and
understand
moves.
the rule.
I mean,
I get the rule. I just think it's a dumb rule.
I mean, if you don't have that rule.
But yet, if you take a step or two and you do the same thing,
What's another rule you love that we saw with the Raiders and
oh my
with
God.
the Raiders and Cowboys, which ended the Raiders, chance really over there in their division?
This happened to Ricky Williams years ago. I remember this
Was
one.
it with the Saints?
It was with the Saints, and it was the year that they went. It was 2000, and Ricky Williams did the same thing in 2000, and the replay got it wrong. He fumbled that ball. It went through the end zone, out of bounds. It should have been a touchback. The Saints got the ball back at the 1 yard line, and they scored and won the game. So last night, in the Oakland Raiders game,
Raiders
Cowboys, the very end of the game, and you want the Cowboys to lose if you're in the NFC. You don't want it because Ezekiel Elliott's coming back. If they get to 10 wins and the Saints lose, it could be a tiebreaker. Blah blah blah. And you don't want to see Ezekiel Elliott in the playoffs. You want this team done. So you're pulling for the Oakland Raiders. So they have a chance to win the game at the end of the game. They're down by 3 points. They're in position to kick a field goal to tie the game, and Carr has an opportunity to take the ball down and run it to the end zone. Runs for about 7 yards, reaches out to the end zone. Ball is knocked out of his hands around the 2 yard line. Ball goes forward through the end zone,
Past the
out of
pylon,
bounds.
out of bounds.
Touchback.
Means Cowboys get the ball on the 20.
Cowboys gets
heading
the
out.
ball at the 20. They don't get the field goal. They don't tie the game. I was getting ready for some extra football. Game over. So, in the NFL,
What's your problem with that rule?
Well, because the rule is different between the goal lines. From the goal line to goal line, in all that green grass, if I'm at the 50-yard line and I'm running and I'm down to the 40 and I'm at the 30 and then I'm at the 20 and the ball gets knocked out of my hands and it goes out at the 15, out of bounds, nobody recovers it, it comes back to the 20. It comes back to where I fumbled it. I don't get those extra 5 yards. So why is it that if I can fumble the ball on the 3-yard line and it crosses into the end zone and nobody recovers it, the defense doesn't recover it, and it goes out of bounds, it's a touchback? Why does the rule change just because it goes into the end zone? Nobody recovered it. They didn't recover it. We didn't recover it. It went out of bounds, just like it did on the 20-yard line, on the 15-yard line. Can anybody explain that rule to me? It's just stupid how we got to change the rule because of the painted area.
I love that these rules that have been in place forever and ever that you just now are discovering them.
But it's dumb, Ronnie.
Speaking of dumb, in that same game, the Oakland Raiders and the Dallas Cowboys, with the season on the line for both of these two teams, there's a quarterback sneak towards the end of the game, crucial part in the game, where quarterback for the Cowboys trying to get the first down, goes into the pile on a quarterback sneak. Referees uncover the pile, they come out, they mark it down, they measure for the first down. When the ball and the stick and the chain come together, it's so close that the referee can't determine whether it's a first down or not. Can't determine is the ball in the chain area, the post touching. So what he does is off the cuff, pulls out an index card, which those index cards are in the referee's pocket because he writes down notes, he writes down the penalties and things on it.
Folded index
card. So
card.
he takes the index card, folds it, and then
makes it thicker when it's
tries
folded.
to see if the ball in the chain
Like a
area
ruler.
are touching. Okay, that said, you're not supposed to do that. Okay, the rule is that the umpire, or the referee rather, is supposed to visually look down and make that call. You can't touch it. You can't take out some tape or anything like that. You got to visually make that call. So it goes in favor of the Cowboys. He says first down, and the Raiders don't get the ball.
Confidently, he said first down.
Yeah.
First down!
First down.
Nobody else on the planet is confident but that one guy with the index card.
The best quote, of course, this went the Cowboys' way, and Jerry Jones, of course, not much is going.
He was the referee on that Tony Romo, Des Bryant call.
Oh, it was the same guy.
Yes, he was. Little
payback. So Jerry Jones, who things have not gone the Cowboys' way this year with the Ezekiel Elliott thing, they finally got the 6-game suspension. Of course, he wanted the commissioner fired. That didn't happen. And so Jerry Jones's power struggle with the league and the other owners is not going his way. He's not the Jerry Jones, 2016 Jerry Jones. 2017 Jerry Jones doesn't carry as big a stick anymore. So he had a great line after the game. He's talking to the reporters, and he said, "I love being a part of a league where they use cigarette paper to determine first down." I thought that was just a shot to the NFL. Billion-dollar league.
But it's true.
And they can't come up with a better way than he says of using cigarette paper to determine whether or not somebody's got a first down or not. That was a pretty good line.
Jerry's still thinking old school where you rolled your own cigarette still.
Yeah.
But
it was it was classic.
I think it was a great jab at the NFL, and that's because he's cutting a check to he's probably personally having to cut a check to Goodell.
He's having to write that.
He makes $200 million a year. Divide that by 32 owners.
He doesn't make $200 million a year.
I'm sorry, he's making $50 million.
Yeah, but
$50 million.
His base is it's single digits is his base. He's got a tremendous amount of incentives that can get him up.
It's
to
a $200 million contract. It turned out to be a $50 million a year contract.
Let's look it up. Continue on. We got to take a break. I'm going to look up.
Let's take a break.
I'm going to make sure Joel's stats are correct here. He just spews things out as if it's a done deal.
I know he's making more than Drew Brees.
We'll tell you about it when we return. Don't go anywhere. Happy holidays. Feliz Navidad to everyone. We'll be back with Sports Shorts right after this.
At Peak Performance Physical Therapy, we treat the athlete in everyone, from the Grand Slam hitter to grandparents. If your doctor prescribes physical therapy, ask for Peak Performance by name, getting you back in the game of life.
Relief Window Experience. Relief Window.
When my wife and I started Relief Windows, what we were trying to do, what our goal was to give a quality job to a homeowner. Everybody's scared of contractors. We wanted to change the mold of what that is. Not showing up on time, not answering the phone, somebody running with your money. The reason why you should pick Relief Windows to do your renovation of your home, windows, doors, hardy plank, or siding, is because of the experience, quality service of our company. Service is everything we have. It's the foundation of our company. We're going to show up on time. We're going to do the job right. Over 60% of our customers is customer referral. We're a local company here in Baton Rouge, built in Baton Rouge, staying in Baton Rouge. Okay. The job's not done until you're happy and we're happy. It's built the old-fashioned way, with a handshake. Here at Relief Windows, it's an honor to be official window, door, and siding company of LSU Athletics, from one winning team to another.
Relief Windows.
BR Mattress Company is the only name you need to know when looking to buy a mattress anywhere in Louisiana. BR Mattress Company is located in the Live Oak Shopping Center on Florida Boulevard between North Foster and Acadian. BR Mattress Company offers all the top name brands at 50 to 75% off retail prices. That's a $5,000 mattress for only $1,500. BR Mattress Company is open 7 days a week, and owner Mitch Kimball and his staff will provide you with laser-like service and a PhD in mattress education. If you want the best night's sleep of your life, go see the experts, Baton Rouge Mattress Company.
At Peak Performance Physical Therapy, we treat the athlete in everyone, from the three-point shooter to the three-piece suit. If your doctor prescribes physical therapy, ask for Peak Performance by name, getting you back in the game of life.
Welcome back, everybody. Ronnie Ranch, Joel Davis here in LeBaire Studios in Baton Rouge. Happy holidays and Happy New Year to everyone out there. You know, with the holidays coming up and the new year coming up, a lot of times everybody's all about making changes, right? Whether it's remodeling a home, whether it's trying to figure out that great gift for your wife or a family member, or, you know, just to start something fresh in January each and every year. Well, the folks over at Ruffino Custom Closets can make you a hero out there. A lot of guys watching the show, they don't know what to get their wife. They've done the jewelry thing, they've done the massages and the smell goods and all that. But if you want her to love you long time and all year long, you need to call the folks over at...
Was that ad-lib?
It was ad-lib, believe it or not. RuffinoCustomClosets.com. Look, take that messy, small closet. Stuff is just falling over the shelves. You don't have space for your stuff. You know, you guys are arguing over where you're going to put things in the closet. They could come in, take that existing space and maximize the contents, maximize all the storage, and make it look like something you see on TMZ or Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, but for paying Joel Davis type prices. Go to RuffinoCustomClosets.com. Tell them you heard it on Sports Shorts. They did my closet, changed my life. They'll change yours.
Love you long time, huh?
So how about this? We have not gotten confirmation on the details specifically in the commercial break that we had regarding Roger Goodell's contract. But we do know that the headline says that 5 years, $200 million, potentially. So that said about $40 million potentially. It's a base.
How much?
$40 million potentially. If they hit all the, you know, all the bonuses. His base is less than 10, but there's a gazillion bonuses. Mm-hmm. He'll probably hit most of them. So that said, you're almost right. So congratulations. One and a half times in the show.
I knew it was a lot more than what Drew Brees is making a year. And he doesn't throw any touchdown passes.
This past week, and as we go into the holidays, LSU basketball, just kind of touch on it for a second.
I want to talk about LSU basketball. I do. Terrible loss to Stephen F. Austin.
Big win against Houston, terrible loss against
terrible
Stephen F.
loss.
Austin.
I don't care. They were.
But here, expectations this year, you got to go back to what the original
Well,
thought
Sampson's being out too. That's a big deal. They need to get that kid back on the floor. They need to get him healthy. But I want to talk about Jerry Richardson. of
the owner of the Carolina Panthers. Who?
Because I know we're going to get into basketball. We're not going to get back to it. But while we were talking about football, let's talk about football. So Jerry Richardson is now going to sell his football team. This is the owner of the Carolina Panthers.
Well-respected owner of the Carolina Panthers. Everybody that's played for him, been a part of that organization, loves him.
And he's
Jake
owned
Delhomme.
the team since its inception. Has taken his team to 2 Super Bowls, lost them both. Has always had a team that's right there, competes, has always had success in the league, has relatively stayed quiet. Now all of a sudden accusations of office misconduct have come to light of day, and a lot of people are dropping like flies, Ronnie, with this stuff that's happening in the media.
Whether it be entertainment, private business,
it doesn't matter.
you name
If
it.
you're a big dog,
Matt Lauer,
if you're a big dog
look out.
and you've done anything inappropriate over your 30-year career
Think
span,
of all the hugs you've given out there that could come back to bite
I would
you.
first thing I'm going to advise you is never be in a room with an employee
Of
of
the
the
opposite
opposite
sex.
sex by yourself again without a chest camera. You need to call the police
Or
force.
any sex below the age of 18.
You're screwed.
Because we're hearing those too.
You're screwed.
Yeah.
And like I said, these people need to start wearing. They need to call the police.
You get the wire.
Get the chest protector with the camera.
Right.
And just put that on
all the time.
Put that on your tie.
Yeah, like those Buddy Holly glasses with the camera right there in the middle. You just wear that all the time.
And you
Seriously.
you need to protect your billions or your millions. But you know what? Some of these guys are disgusting.
Some of them deserve
They
it. No,
deserve
no,
it.
no,
Matt
no,
Lauer
yeah.
deserves it, dude. I mean, he's a scumbag of some of the things that are coming out on this guy.
Oh, see, I haven't heard all those things. I know he had that affair with the
dude.
girl who worked
Well,
for
that's
him.
that's
but-
terrible right there. I mean, you don't be cheating on your wife. You shouldn't be. That's what happens.
But
to you.
that shouldn't affect your job. Cheating on your wife shouldn't affect your job.
It depends on if it's an office worker.
It
if
depends
it's somebody,
on
if
other
it's
terms.
if it's somebody in the office, yeah, it's not good. You can't
Yeah.
do that. Okay. You need to keep
Should be
those things out.
disclosed, yeah.
It should be not. Those things shouldn't go in the
You
office.
can have relationships with somebody at work as long as it's disclosed to HR. That's the rules of the
There you go.
engagement.
Now that Ronnie's got a job in HR, you had to go check that. I'm sure. You had to go make sure. Hey, is this cool?
it says right here.
Googled it. You Googled it. You wanted to make sure what you're capable of. My point
this okay?
Can I do this? Jerry Richardson is going to now step aside, sell the team, and then
Carolina
yesterday,
Panthers.
P. Diddy went up on
Puff
Facebook.
Daddy?
Puff Daddy says he wants to buy the Panthers. He wants to buy the Panthers, and the first thing he's going to do is he's going to sign Colin Kaepernick and make a quarterback.
Whoa.
He's going to no. He said this in his video. I'm going to sign Colin Kaepernick.
Okay, well then
and
he's
I'm
not going to have a team then.
Hold on a second.
If that's what he said.
But that wasn't
he's
the
just
best
making
part.
a splash because the NFL's not
Of
going to
course
let him
he
do
is.
that.
So the first thing
Yeah.
is he said he's going to sign Colin Kaepernick, and he is going to create a quarterback controversy, and he's going to make Cam Newton, who's a very good quarterback,
Way better than Colin.
way
Kaepernick.
better, battle it out with Colin Kaepernick. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. No P. Diddy coming to Charlotte, I can tell you that. But, don't be surprised. There's going to be a ton of people. I mean, look, NFL franchises don't come available that often. Plus, you got to
Well,
figure.
they're made now
Well,
with what's going on in the
yeah,
world.
but also it may be a situation where you get it at a good price. I mean, you got an owner who wants to sell.
Yeah, but
you know.
the NFL's not going to let it go at a cheap price.
No, they're not going to let it go at a cheap price.
Because that's going to hurt all the other NFL
It's not a
teams.
situation where he can go, you know what, I'm not going to take that money, I'm going to go back and own the team.
Well, there are probably some other things that can say, look, we're going to keep this quiet if you just step aside.
So that said, well, what's come to light is the fact that he had some four settlements with former employees. It's not, at this point, we don't know anything new. It's the fact that it came out that he'd had settlements with former employees. But that said, NFL franchises don't come available every day. Don't be surprised to hear the Manning name thrown into some type of ownership group. You remember it came out a couple of weeks ago with the whole Tennessee coaching hire, with his connections to the folks that own the Cleveland Browns, that the Mannings, Peyton, Eli, and Archie do want to be a part of own an NFL franchise one day.
I don't know if right now is the best time to go buy an NFL team.
Well, it depends on the price.
Well, I mean, are teams as valuable today after what's going on
They're
this year
still
as
super
they
valuable.
were
I mean,
2 years ago?
Okay, all right, maybe you don't make $1 billion, but you make $500 million. I mean, it's all
Wait a minute,
relative.
did you just say maybe you don't make $1 billion, but you make That's a lot of difference.
I know,
That's
but the point is it's
massive
still
difference.
worth a lot. It's still worth something, and it's still a very valuable entity. There's nobody out there losing money on an NFL franchise. it's still worth more than what your expenses are.
Yeah, but do you want to go spend $1 billion on
First off, the Mannings are not going to go spend $1 billion. They're going to be a part of a group of people that are putting
they'll
up
be the
money.
face of it. They'll
Of
be
course.
So my point is if you had a bunch of money, and the Mannings have made a ton of it, all right? Is right now is it a good investment
yes,
right now?
It is because they just don't come available. You don't know
we just talked
when the
about the
next
TV, how TV's changing. Right. We just talked about all these different things.
Owning an NFL team is about ego and about love and passion just as much as it's about business. Nobody says, "Oh, that's just a fantastic business model." It's about that's what it's about. It's about I've got so much money in life. What is it that I want to do to be happy? And owning a franchise.
Yeah, but I don't think the Mannings have that kind of money.
Even if they don't make a dime, of course they do.
No.
They don't have billion-dollar money, but they have to be a part of a group. They can put up money to be a part of the group and be the face of the franchise.
You ever been a partner in a business? Ever?
Yes, small one, but not to the level of this kind of stuff.
Right.
And we know how that went for you. You're so bitter towards
nobody wants to be a
understandably.
partnership, especially at that level of investment, is maybe not necessarily the best thing to do. Especially in these times, the way the NFL has got people have a sour taste in their mouth.
I'm Ronnie Rance. We've got to take a break. He's Joel Davis. He thinks small, I think big. We'll be back. Sports Shorts in the LeBear Studios right after this.
Relief window. Experience Relief window.
When my wife and I started Relief Windows, what we were trying to do, what our goal was to give a quality job to a homeowner. Everybody's scared of contractors. We wanted to change the mold of what that is. Not showing up on time, not answering the phone, somebody running with your money. The reason why you should pick Relief Windows to do your renovation of your home, windows, doors, hardy plank, or siding, is because of the experience, quality service of our company. Service is everything we have. It's the foundation of our company. We're going to show up on time. We're going to do the job right. Over 60% of our customers is customer referral. We're a local company here in Baton Rouge, built in Baton Rouge, staying in Baton Rouge. Okay. The job's not done until you're happy and we're happy. It's built the old-fashioned way, with a handshake. Here at Relief Windows, it's an honor to be official window, door, and siding company of LSU Athletics, from one winning team to another.
Relief window.
Appliance Distributors of Louisiana are appliance experts who have been in business for over 35 years. ADL provides worry-free, full-service solutions for the whole home. ADL works with designers, builders, or individual homeowners like me when I was remodeling my home after the Great Flood in August 2016. ADL offers special homeowner discounts, just like the ones the builders get. Go to ADLappliances.com and see all the major name brands, or stop by their store on Nicholson Drive in Baton Rouge. ADL services the entire state of Louisiana, so call, log on, or stop by today. Appliance Distributors of Louisiana. If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau St. Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase.
Welcome back, everybody. Ronnie Rance, Joel Davis here with you. Happy holidays to everyone. Final segment, a lot to get to. The LSU basketball for, people have to take a deep breath. They beat Michigan. They beat Houston. Hey, everything's great. No, we knew this team wasn't going to be that good this year. Next year's the year. 2018 season, 2018-2019
And
season
going forward
is the year where they can. And moving forward, Wade's the guy. There's
the
no
guy.
question about it. There's an energy. He's a fantastic coach. But they did take a step back on the Stephen F. Austin game. No question.
Yeah, I was watching it on my little SEC app or ESPN Watch app. I was working the store, obviously, and able to go and check in on it. And look, it was a tight game. It was an opportunity for them to win at home against a good basketball team. You know, LSU is just so young, and they're missing some parts.
Can't play defense.
They can't play defense.
That's the problem. At the end of the day, they shot well. They shot like 49%.
unbelievable.
They did well enough. LSU
I thought they did
to win
well
the game.
rebounding the basketball.
They got out rebounded 32-30 on the boards by Stephen F. Austin.
Well, I mean, Stephen F. Austin had been rebounding the ball well, but it was the offensive boards, the defensive boards on both sides of the floor for this basketball team that they did okay, but they have to do better against that kind of competition.
Yeah, be patient. They'll win some games non-conference.
But Stephen F. Austin was 9-1
during the offseason, but then they've got Kentucky the first week, Alabama. The Raging Cajuns hire former Alabama assistant Billy Napier as their head football coach. No more Hudspeth. They're going with Billy Napier. He's a guy who spent time at Alabama and Clemson. This is the big splash hire they were hoping for.
Congratulations. I mean, we'll see what happens with this team, and you know, they have to take steps forward. I mean, you saw UL doing some good things, and all of a sudden it just kind of fell to the wayside. Things weren't getting, they weren't winning the way that fan base wants to win, and that area deserves a winner. Let's see what happens. I mean, apparently he's a good recruiter. He's got some connections here. We'll see what happens.
We heard he's a great recruiter. We know he's got a good pedigree of being with coaches and programs. But at the end of the day, it's easier to recruit at Clemson and Alabama than it is.
Yeah, but there's a lot of players that
UL
get
Lafayette.
overlooked. There's a lot of players in the state of Louisiana and in Texas that get overlooked. And it's his job to identify who those players are and get them sold on UL.
I was hoping it would be Timmy Rebo. I thought he'd been a great fit over there, and who knows, maybe one day. But best of luck to Billy Napier. I'm sure he'll do a solid job. Morton Anderson got honored and got his Hall of Fame ring with the New Orleans Saints. That was a big moment. LSU football, Tigers taking on Notre Dame. The last time these two played in a bowl game, it didn't go their way. Notre Dame shocked the world and beat LSU. What's your prediction?
I think LSU should win the football game. I think LSU is so deep defensively and has so much talent on the defensive side of the football. I think that they can give enough problems to Notre Dame, and I think that this offense will do just enough. And I think Darius Geis has a lot to prove in this.
Is he playing in his last game?
Yeah, I think he wants. He's not a top 5 pick. He's got things to prove, and he wants to go out.
That's
on
what
top.
it was. You said Darius Geis would be a top 20 pick. We
Yeah.
bet on it. That was the bet from a week ago. Just remember.
Do you know what we bet?
$20.
I don't think that's what we bet.
Yeah, it is what we
Get a
bet.
Greek board.
He's Joel Davis. We hope everyone has a wonderful and happy holidays. Merry Christmas, Feliz Navidad, Happy Kwanzaa. We'll be back with a brand new show January 2nd, right after the bowl games. Have a good one.
If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau St. Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase.